Welcome aboard the news review segment on the AM show. It's always a pleasure to be my guest, but we have my guest in the studio with me, and I'll be telling you who they are in a brief moment. But a gentle reminder that this segment is always brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, and they're offering free prostate screening and free fertility screening for women at their various locations. Here in Accra, you can find them on the Spintex Road, opposite the Shell signboard. In Kumasi, Kronima Buenya, behind the Angel Educational Complex. In Takrade Anaji Estate, in Tema Community 22, in Techiman, Hanswa, in Esiama, in Zema. And their call lines are 0244-867-068 or 0274-234-321. Take advantage of this free screening and get yourself checked. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. This morning, I have two gallant women in the studio with me to help me review the various stories captured in the newspapers. A very familiar face on the show is Nanaya Achepim Jantwa, former General Secretary of the CPP, and Joyce Lanyo, Country Director of International Child Development Program. Ladies, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And you are looking very colorful.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so just to start the news review segment, I'll give you both 2 minutes to walk us through your thoughts this morning. It could be on any topical issue. It could be of social issues, developmental issues, something that you think you should respond to. I'll start with you, Madam Joyce. What's on your mind this morning?
Thank you very much. There is an emerging issue which I want to bring into the public space about maternal mortality and issues around portable or ultrasound scan for rural women. It's becoming an issue, and per the work that we do, the data is informing us that women, as part of their antenatal health care, will have to do an ultrasound scan every trimester of their pregnancy. And so this ultrasound, they will have to travel from their rural communities to the health centers, and it's a distance. Now, when they get to the health center too, they will have to pay so much, which most of them cannot afford. So we are advocating for a portable ultrasound machine that can be carried to these rural communities so that it will make it a bit less expensive and then reduce the traveling time to just go and do an ultrasound scan check on their pregnancies. So this is an issue that I want to bring into public space. And we are doing that advocacy for these rural women. So whoever wants to partner with us will come on board. It's the Safe Start Initiative.
Safe Start Initiative?
Yes, please.
So government, interested individuals, please come aboard and help, because every life matters in this country. Nanaya Achepim Jantwa, what's on your mind this morning?
Me, so many things on my mind. You know me, after this country. Let me say good morning to everybody. Good morning to your viewers. Good morning to Ghana. Good morning to my big sister, and good morning to you as well. You see, NLA is on my mind. There is some intrusion going on. You find a message on your WhatsApp telling you about lottery, telling you to get involved. Then the number is a strange number. So when you call the number, then the person will tell you, I work with the national. No, but that's wrong. You see, that is an invasion of privacy. What shows that I'm interested in lottery? I'm not interested in betting, neither am I interested in lottery. My religion does not approve of it. Socially, it depends on who, but I am not into that. So, I don't know how they get my number.
Is it telcos?
Yes.
They sell.
They sell. Yes, but it's wrong.
Yeah.
It's very wrong. Do you get it? It's very, very wrong for you to intrude on my privacy like that. It's wrong.
Right.
And
even using a number, a strange number like
that.
There's
a strange number.
For fraudsters.
Fraudsters, yes. I mean, you see a message, oh, good morning, beautiful lady. Then it continues. So then I find out, I say, but who is this? Then the person will tell you, oh, I'm with National Lotteries. You don't have to ram lottery down our throats. Do you understand me? So I think there should be a neater and nicer way of doing it.
Okay.
I mean, certainly there should be a neater and nicer way of doing this kind of intrusion. It's so common of the MPP, they have to stop. This one, my brother is not doing well at all. He should look at it. And that is Hami Uku. All
right, let's get into the various newspapers. I'll start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. On the front page, Cocoa Board invests 942 million Ghana cedis on farms. That is according to the Chief Executive Officer. Let's get into that story. First, let me just do
you have to read it. Let's see.
It's pleasant to be vindicated, according to John Mahama. Chiefs deserve bigger role in governance. That is Vice President. He was speaking at Homo War festivities. Okay, let's get into the story about Cocoa Board. Now, the Ghana Cocoa Board has spent almost 1 billion Ghana cedis last year to rehabilitate aged cocoa farms and those ravaged by swollen shoot virus to help increase national production in the short to medium term. The money was used to fund the cutting down of diseased and aged cocoa trees, nursing and planting of seedlings, as well as maintaining the rehabilitated farms before handing them over to farmers across the country. I'll put a pin in that and do some other stories before I come to you ladies for your reflections on the various stories. If the Republic of Ghana were a person, what would she look like right now? It's an interesting editorial. I was reading it before we came on the show, and I think everyone should read it. Because Ghana would be a 4-year-old woman at this point in her life. I wonder what, the way we treat this country, the issues that emerge on a daily basis, the way our leaders and politicians run this country, I wonder how healthy or well-looking Ghana would look at 64. Because we call Ghana our motherland, so yes, I'm assuming a woman. Anyway, on the international front, Scholz urges Netanyahu to cease fire. Trump's campaign accuses Iran of hacking. King Charles calls for unity and understanding after UK riots. It's pleasant to be vindicated. That is the flag bearer of NDC, John Dramani Mahama, stating that it is a pleasant feeling to be vindicated in the Airbus scandal. Quote, no allegations of wrongdoing have been proven against me, including the baseless Airbus brouhaha that the government attempted to clothe me with, he stressed. This is coming on the back of that OSP's conclusion of investigations into the Airbus scandal and saying that they couldn't establish any incidents of bribery with the former president involved. Chiefs deserve bigger role in governance. That is the vice president saying that. And the vice president says, or he's reiterated the importance of chieftaincy institutions in the development of the country, stressing that there was the need to increase the role of chiefs in governance for national development. He said chiefs, as an embodiment of their people, were agents of development who should not be relegated to the background in the national development agenda. Quote, Ghana has made a mistake since independence by trying to keep chiefs from governance. It has not helped us. We need to bring chiefs closer to governance to help in the development of this country. I don't know if chiefs are not involved in governance, what they are not actively, or what the Constitution forbids them from actively participating in politics. But in terms of governance, chiefs are actually doing some. They're doing some, I think. Government employees face surcharges for allowance abuse, and the chief executive of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, Ben Arthur, says, or he's warned that public service workers who live in government accommodation but still receive allowance to come or to cover same will be surcharged. Equally to be surcharged are employees who use state vehicles yet receive fuel and vehicle maintenance allowances. He said the practice was a drain on public funds. I mean, come on, if you fall in this category, come on. That's our money. All right, let me do 2 more stories and then I'll come to you. Let's not compromise our integrity for money, Reverend Dr. Degbe saying, and that's from the CDD on the back of election 2024.
That's
quote,
my former senior pastor.
That's your former senior pastor.
Oh,
okay. A vote is your will, choice, and conscience. Taking money means you are selling your conscience and ability to hold leadership accountable. Now, listen to John Mahama a few days ago, last 2 weeks or so, saying when the politicians come and give you the money, take it. But don't do what they ask you to do. Okay, let's pause here for your reflections and then I'll come back and do some other stories in here.
So, how do you want us to go? We said so many things.
Yeah,
so
we did a story on Cocoa Board.
You have to give us a lead, yeah.
We can start with Cocoa Board.
So, Cocoa Board, they said they have what? They have...
They said nearly 1 billion.
In farms?
Yes. That's last year. And, you know, I think just last month or so.
And proceeds are not as we wanted. Well, I mean, and most of these farms are also being turned into Galamsey sites. I mean, so really, we need to really look into it. We didn't have time to read everything. Maybe later on, we need to really interrogate what exactly it is and the impact. You see, my point is that normally these things come up and they mention huge figures, but they don't tell us the impact and how positively this has affected the cocoa industry in Ghana. So I believe that we should go further, we interrogate it further to find out the impact and how far this intervention of almost $1 billion Ghana cedis has helped in the production of cocoa. Because I know that a place like cocoa processing that produces chocolate, sometimes they are even short of the cocoa to produce the chocolate. So let's look into it. Yes, it's a banner headline, but let's look into it. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama said he's vindicated. Yes,
and it's a good feeling.
It's a good feeling, yes. But I am a bit surprised. I am like, you have appointed an OSP. Mm-hmm. The OSP has done his job. Mm-hmm. Then you find other people, the Deputy General Secretary of the MPP, Owusu Bempah, saying that the OSP did not do right. And you are insulting the integrity of your own appointee just because it is a certain person. Do you understand? We need to be fair in this country. At this point, when I was coming, I heard about Owusu Bempah fixing the country convener, talking about the fact that the OSP did a shoddy job, and he's calling on one person as if the person is a drug baron. He's calling on Yoko, BNI, CID, UK Embassy, American Embassy, FBI, all these people to investigate one person. Meanwhile, in your own country, the person you have made in charge of investigating politicians when it comes to corruption has said that there is nothing wrong.
What's interesting is that this same, I mean, if it's now a political discussion or a partisan discussion as to who the decision favors.
Yes.
This same OSP declared that they couldn't establish any corruption-related situations in the Cecilia Dapa case. And then this NPP was rejoicing. So the same OSP is saying that there's no bribery or no incident of.
Then you said that you have to call all these. I mean, it doesn't really this thing. Let me go to what my former senior pastor, Reverend Fred Begbe, Calvary Baptist Church. Good morning, Papa. You see, the point is that what he's saying is apt. That when I've been rehearsing in my head that when a politician gives you money to vote for them, it means that you are contributing to, and you collect it, you are contributing to the corruption in this country. It is blood money that you are taking. Because you see, it is our money that they have stolen and given the money to you. If the money is their own money, they wouldn't go dashing it. Do you understand? So any person who is confronted or approached with money to vote in a certain manner, that person should refuse the money.
Right.
Because you see, in that case, then you are being patriotic. If they are stuck with their money and they cannot dissipate their money, then it will tell them that now Ghanaians are aware that they are corrupt and that the Ghanaians don't want to be part of that corruption. Because you see, when they give you that money, you take it, they are happy. Sometimes they even force people to swear oaths, do all manner of things. You put yourself into some kind of bind, some trouble. Yeah. So I do not think that any leader should say that Ghanaians should collect money from politicians. Okay. It is wrong.
Let me come to Joyce now. What are your thoughts? First, on Cocoa Board spending nearly $1 billion Ghana cedis last year to rehabilitate farms and increase yields, although, well, they did just end that 6-year losing streak, so maybe that's some of the place that the money went into. And then we have that issue on John Mahama being vindicated. We also spoke about chiefs being involved in governance and all that. What are your thoughts?
Right. Thank you very much, and good morning to my cherished viewers. I want to say that the issue about Cocoa Board and the cocoa industry in Ghana is a shame. If you look back a couple of days ago, staff of PBC were on the streets, you know, shouting and making a case for not being paid all this while, just because certain resources that were supposed to be made available to them has not come. And they said something, for me, it was very serious, that the government cannot do anything without PBC. Now, let's come to the industry itself, the cocoa industry. If you take CPC that my sister mentioned, they are cash-strapped. Yeah. They cannot operate the way they should. Yeah. Our golden tree, which is touted as one of the best cocoas around the world, is all over the place. I mean, we are not getting what it is that Ghana, as one of the highest producers of cocoa, is supposed to receive around the international market. Not to mention the galamsey, which people have decided to give room or give their cocoa farms to galamseys. I mean, let's be serious a bit. Yeah. We are in competition with La Côte d'Ivoire. And all that we are talking about is about this our cocoa that is going to be very soon rejected on the international market because of the heavy metals that probably will be found in this our cocoa.
In some places, you no longer find cocoa from Ghana, you know, their shelves anymore.
No.
You don't.
So the cocoa issue, I believe it's time for government to prioritize some of these our export products and continue to pride ourselves as one of the leading producers. Right. Rather than, you know, putting the galamsey and then we reducing our status. CPC, the least talked about, the better. Right. Now, when it comes to the OSP, the OSP has been given the mandate to look into the matter. And he has come out with his findings. I think we need to accept whatever he has come out with and then move on, rather than punching holes on this personality who has been accredited to do the job. So whoever is punching the hole, are you saying you have the facts to be able to do the investigation and come out with the findings? And that whatever the OSP, I think the OSP has suffered a lot these days. And he has to be given a bit of space. Yes, he's been a loner, a lone ranger, and he has been receiving bullets from all angles. Investigations that has gone through the process with the evidences. Ghanaians just wake up and rubbish it and poo-poo it.
It even brings his credibility, authenticity in question. I mean, this is the office that has been established purposely to prosecute, you know, politicians, government officials who are involved in corruption. Yet every time this person comes out with results, we're punching loopholes in it. So the rest of us are watching.
That office has to be scrapped.
Ah, well.
It's not fit for purpose.
The office is not fit for purpose.
Yeah, because I mean, what are they doing? Anything that
is it?
You remember
because
the first
of our
man,
actions.
The first man, what is his name? Auntie, I haven't got into your
Sorry,
space.
yeah.
The first man, what is his name? Amidu.
Yes, Martin Amidu.
It's the same thing. I mean, it is so common. The patterns are so synonymous. You wonder what is happening. From two different political divides.
Let's finish here.
So I believe we have to be very serious with people that have been put in authority to take charge of certain things. And whatever comes out, we have to accept it, whether it's going for the government or the other side in opposition. We just have to. So that we put a bit of respect, a bit of decorum on personalities that are working around some of these things. So for me, the OSP has done well, and I think it's a lesson. The only issues around this investigation was initially somebody said he wasn't government official one, and now,
he's
and so, yes. Yeah. And so we should be straightforward and then come clean in terms of some of these investigations.
All right.
Concerning...
There was one more story. Is it government officials abusing power, abusing the allowances. Degbe, yes, about not accepting money from politicians.
It's sad. And, you know, the economic temperature in the country gives room for such things. So that, and then the perception that, oh, when it comes to government, I'll be able to satisfy my personal businesses and other things that I'm into is also one. But politics is not about money. Politics is about putting yourself out there to support government machinery to achieve
Is that what it has really been for us?
It has been reduced to money, and it's a shame. It's 50 cedis is able to buy somebody's conscience. 50 cedis, sometimes 10 cedis. And so I believe it's time the Ghanaian becomes awakened to the fact that it's not about money, that money that is being given to you, like my sister said, is your money, my money, monies that are meant for projects, monies that are to be used for development, to better your lot. So if you start taking it in that form of bribery to circumvent electioneering process and pretend as if, oh, it was free and fair, whereas indeed it wasn't, then it's a challenge. There should be a serious campaign about those who give money. Somebody gives money during an election process, puts money in an envelope, and we never knew the outcome of that.
They said they're investigating. I mean, there are a number of issues that come up and they say we are investigating, and you hear nothing. That woman that was abandoned in...
yes.
What happened to
what's it called? Winneba.
Winneba. So today...
Ghana Medical Association, they all said they are investigating in 30 days. It's past 30 days. What are the findings from that investigation? What are the culprits? Who is going to... What are the punitive actions being taken against the people involved? It's investigation.
So if you talk about Ghana at 60, or
yes,
60,
imagine Ghana at 64. As a 64-year-old.
Ghana is in a wheelchair.
I picture a certain Ghana representing an old woman who is not enjoying the fruits of her benefits.
Poor.
Ghana
who has been abandoned.
If Ghana is walking, that one at 65, if you are walking and you are poor, you are okay. But Ghana is in a wheelchair because we are in IMF, and IMF is pushing us. So how, I mean, you can be 65 and walking. You can be 65 and okay, even poor. You can have small Gary and you will survive. You go and talk to your friends by the roadside. But Ghana cannot walk on its own.
So where does it end?
We are being pushed.
Where does it end?
You see, the time has come for us to all come together as a nation. For me, the 2024 election is not about any political party. It is about salvaging Ghana, the destiny of this nation. And that is what we have to do. You see, everybody should come on board and know and believe that we are doing Ghana. I wish there will be a Ghana project where all political parties, everybody will come together against MPP.
Oh, only NPP?
Yes, for now, because where they have taken us, we have so much hope in them. All the promises they gave in 2016, beautiful promises, laudable projects, but at the end of the day, what has happened?
They want to break the 8.
They cannot break the 8. Let me give some clarification. Is it the Fair and Wages Committee?
Yes, Fair Wages and Salaries Committee.
You see, if one lives in a government bungalow, they pay rent.
You pay rent even if it's a government-funded bungalow?
There's nothing like a government-funded bungalow.
Okay.
As long as you live in it, it's like renting. It might not be at the commercial rate as you rent a house. But at the end of the month, they take some money from your salary, which is rent. So maybe they have to just, whoever is living in a government bungalow will get maybe a third of the rent allowance. But every person living in a government bungalow, you are supposed to pay.
But Mr. Aka is saying that if you do live in a government bungalow and you're still taking allowances,
it's not free.
You'll be surcharged.
He doesn't know it is not free. When you live in a government bungalow, you pay rent.
Okay. Yeah,
but
so
not that huge amount. Something
you live in a government bungalow, you pay rent, but the rent is deducted at source.
Yes, from your salary. Yes,
so you don't. Yes. So that
it's still your money being taken.
Okay.
Do you get those who get?
Let me look for that.
Those who get rent allowance are not pure civil servants. Do you get me?
Yeah.
they are not pure. The rent allowance is consolidated for civil servants. But in some public institutions, they pay themselves. For instance, I work in PURC. In PURC, if you get a rent allowance, it is not from controller. It is from the institution because PURC pays itself, NCA pays itself, Energy Commission pays itself. But you are still within the public service. So if you have a...
Oh, okay. So he's saying that the decision was aimed at curbing the practice of double dipping, where employees receive government-provided housing and then a separate allowance for accommodation at the same time. So you're receiving at source, it comes with your salary for accommodation, and then you still receive another set of allowances for rent, and that's what they're going to do.
But they pay rent.
Yeah, they
pay rent.
So
yes.
The
yeah, they pay rent.
All right, let's do some other stories, quick headlines, and then I'll come to you for your papers. On the publisher, NLA raises Lotto commission to 25%. Ofinso North NPP boiling. Executive accused PC of stoking division. High Court clears Tobinko of fake drugs allegation. And this is the Ghanaian publisher newspaper. Napo pays courtesy call on traditional rulers in Nzima. Stop behaving like a land guard. Family tells Accra regional minister. And OSP's report on Mahama, a total whitewash. Which of these stories do you want to get into? Just one, and then we'll come to you. Which of them is interesting?
I want to speak about the Greater Accra regional minister and the issues around the land.
Okay, let me give you a bit of background there. So, Osabarima Isakwesi Mensah Bediako III, the chief of Enum Asaman Kese and a prominent member of the Odoi Kese family in Obosomase, has condemned the actions of the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Mr. Daniel Titus Glover, likening him to land guard activities. The chief expresses dismay over the minister's involvement in leading a joint military and police team to demolish family and private properties at Dodoa. And the minister's action, he claimed, were carried out without adherence to Ghanaian law. So that's why he's saying he should stop behaving like a land guard.
Right. So if you talk about the Dodoa forest area where this issue is boiling, it's assumed that it's a conservational zone for issues around the forestry and all that. But they have a border. They border the Kwapim people. And so there is always this confusion between who owns what within that range. And so a couple of weeks ago, it came out that that area was for conservation purposes and that nobody should go there. But you see these days, people are just grabbing land anywhere, anyhow. And so you go today, you have your space. Tomorrow, you go and it's fraught with buildings because there is some form of authority behind.
Right.
But if you talk about certain zones that are supposed to be left for tourism and other very important national assignments, it cannot be left aloof for people to encroach. A similar thing is happening at Sakumono, where you have the wetland, which used to be a place for migrational birds, people would go and observe, has become a property grabbing zone where people are building indiscriminately. And I believe there are rules and regulations. If you look at the buildings and the walls and those things, I believe if they have the necessary documentation to, put a building there, nobody will. We are making way for buildings, no space, even space for children to play, football grounds and all those things. It's being filled with buildings. And so I think the Greater Accra minister is doing something good unless there are issues around it. Then they should go back to the table and discuss and find solution rather than being described as a land guard, which is rather unfortunate.
Let's quickly get into your papers. We have just a few minutes to go. I'll start with you, Joyce, and then I'll come to Nanaya.
Yeah.
Which paper do you have there?
I have with me the Daily Guide.
Okay.
And the major headline is Reject Mahama's Return to Power, Dr. Bawumia. And as usual, Cocoa Board invests in 943 million in cocoa farms for increased yields.
Yeah, we've already got into that story.
And the union's petition Energy Ministry over OCTP utilization. I want to go to the court exonerates Tobinco over fake drug claims.
Let's do that.
I mean, the pharmacy industry is one industry of, you know, people who actually support with our healthcare system. So in cases where we have fake drugs taking over the market, it's a very big issue. I remember some time ago, they said one of these drugs had something like coconte powder in it, and that's if you take blah, blah, certain drugs were also imported from somewhere and they were faked. I think it's time for the Food and Drugs Authority to take a very serious look into some of these fake drugs. So if Tobinco, after so many years of existence, are being exonerated from producing fake drugs, I think it's something that is welcome. There should be some form of authority or a regulator who is making sure that what the citizens are taking in terms of drugs are genuine and are going to support, heal their diseases, rather than taking something in the name of a drug and then it rather exacerbates your issues.
And really, it's not that we don't have these regulations in place. It's how they manage to get into the country. We did that documentary, Porous Borders. I don't know if you watched. It's a Joy News documentary, Porous Borders, where you can pay as little as 20 Ghana cedis, and they will allow, officials at the border will allow you to bring in, smuggle goods, illegal goods into the country, including drugs. It's not really about regulations in place, I think. I think the regulations are there, but the people in charge of implementing these rules and regulations are the ones who keep opening these doors for all these things to keep happening.
I absolutely agree with you. For example, our colleagues from Mali and all, they're always carrying something in their bags, in the form of drugs, capsules, and professing to be pharmacists or doctors, and people buy. People buy. We should make sure, we should come to the realization that if you want to take certain medicines, you have to go to the hospital, the doctors will have to prescribe, you go to the pharmacy, the pharmacy will give you the accredited drug that will heal your challenge, rather than... Thank you.
Nanaya.
Mine is the custodian. NLA approves 25% commission for lotto writers. Hey.
25% commission.
For lotto writers.
Is that a bit high?
Me, I don't know. I'm even doing for lotto. I'm doing on my brother here. The hypocrisy of partisan politics.
That.
From Gabi Ochida. Wow. Baumia 6 free and fair polls in Africa. These are interesting topics here. New shippers law, success depends on team. Exactly, yeah. Whatever law that you put in place, if there is no teamwork, if there is division, it will not work. You are making Yaga Kubori and DC unpopular. Okay, that one too is a political thing. But my focus are on two things, as Auntie Joyce said. You see, the fake drugs, it's also a factor of poverty. Do you get me? Fake drugs thrive when there is acute poverty, when the standard of living reduces and the cost of living is high. Because you see, today, a lot of people have high blood pressure, which is a very dangerous thing, a very silent killer. But the drugs that have to manage it are very expensive. Do you get me?
And so if someone can smuggle in some drugs and sell it for cheaper price,
and make some money, they'll do that. And because I cannot buy those drugs, I would opt for a cheaper one without even knowing that they are fake. And people have even resorted to using traditional medicines, which is herbs and all that, which is not helping them. So we really need to look at the issue, not... Because when you hear Tobinco and you hear Opuni, you immediately see politics. Do you understand? So that should
really not a political
No, it should not be a political. It's a health matter. It is the wherewithal of the people of Ghana, which is very key, that we need to look at it. Fake drugs thriving in a black market situation is a factor of poverty. Number two,
that has to be your final date, because we have to...
Yeah, Baumia 6 free and fair poll. But when these people speak, does he listen to them? He says something else, his people too are saying something else. Because these people are not asking for free and fair elections in Ghana.
What are they asking for?
They are asking for anyhow, anyway.
Wait a minute.
Yes. That's what they're asking for, anyhow, anyway.
That conversation actually comes up shortly when you get to our big stories.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to the insights that will come from that discussion. But before we go, Madam Joyce, what is the latest at the International Child Development Program?
Yeah, the latest and what we are into is the issue about women. You know, we are a child-focused organization, but whoever works with the child is our focus. And like I said, the issue about the ultrasound scan for pregnant women in rural communities is a big issue because they cannot afford. When they travel, there is cost, and it affects their maternal health and then the outcome of the child that is coming out. Because now, ultrasound is part of their antenatal care services. So can you imagine if you don't have money to travel to the district hospital and the transportation cost and everything, you decide to stay back. So we are proposing a safe initiative with a portable ultrasound scan machine that we can carry to the facilities, to the CHIPS compound. When the women come for their checks, the machine is available. So here we are calling for partnerships, donors, interested parties to come and support us, get some of these machines. And it's all over the place. Women, especially in the rural communities.
But can I ask Auntie Joyce a question?
Yes, briefly. In about 30 seconds.
Why should donors do that? What is the Ministry of Health and Government
Well, if they were doing it,
they
have the need
you see, they have to do it.
If the government was doing their
No, but you see, we are pampering them too much.
And,
we should ensure that they do it. It is their responsibility.
How do we ensure that they do it?
I don't know.
Go on the streets and demonstrate?
But what is wrong with that?
So through this initiative, we want to push for a policy in this direction.
Now they have passed the affirmative action bill. We put a lot of pressure on them, advocacy, and now they have passed it. That is all they listen to. You need to put pressure on them.
Okay, we have to go.
Write to them. Put pressure.
Put pressure on the government. Thank you so much for joining us for News Review segment. My guest was Nana Yaa Achepim Janto, former General Secretary of the PPP. And
CPP. Why PPP?
Former General Secretary of the CPP, beg your pardon. And Madam Joyce Lanyo, Country Director of International Child Development Program. Both ladies join us to review the various stories captured in the newspapers. This segment is always brought to you by Endpoints Homeopathic Clinic. And they're offering free prostate screening and free fertility screening at their various locations. Here in Accra, they're on the Springtex Road opposite the Shell signboard in Kumasi, Kronom Abuenia, behind the Angel Educational Complex in Takoradi, Anaji Estate, in Nsiama, Nzima. And then I'll bring you their call lines later on. But now, sports is up next.